The calls were regular, predictable, almost tender in their repetition. Late mornings, early afternoons, never nights. A man who didn't want complications. I watched her reflection more than her face. Reflections tell the truth before mouths do. I learned the new cadence of her deception. How she breathed when she deleted messages. How her hand shook when she thought she'd gone too far. I ran the finances quietly. Joint accounts drained in polite increments. Gifts disguised as business expenses. Hotel charges erased. Then reappearing under different names. She wasn't just cheating. She was preparing. Selling me piece by piece while smiling across the table. I ordered a background check on our money well spent. Married. Children. Short temper. Long history of thinking money made him untouchable. He didn't want her love. He wanted her loyalty. And she had already decided which man was worth more. The proof arrived in a plain envelope. I opened it slowly. Respectfully. Like it deserved ceremony. Photos. Messages. Dates. And one line that ended everything. He doesn't suspect a thing. I've outgrown him. I waited until dinner. Set the table. Poured wine. Let her talk about nothing. Then I slid the envelope across to her. No words. She opened it. Her face didn't collapse. It hollowed. As if something essential had been scooped out cleanly. I can explain, she whispered. I nodded. Let her try. She talked about needs. About growth. About feeling small with me. I listened like a man attending his own autopsy. When she finished, I asked one question. How much? She froze. That told me everything. I didn't yell. Didn't beg. I handed her another folder. Prenuptial amendments. Financial disclosures. Copies of messages forwarded to the right people. Including his wife. Including his board. Including the bank. I had moved weeks ago. Quietly. Efficiently. She stared at the documents like they were written in a foreign language. You already knew, she said. I smiled. I already priced the damage, I replied. She tried to reach for me. I stepped back. Not out of anger. Out of clarity. She had traded a man who loved her for a man who owned her. And now, neither of us wanted what she was. I walked out while she cried. Not because I was strong. Because I was done. I live alone now. Smaller place. Quieter mornings. I sleep without my back turned. I drink coffee without watching reflections. I trust the math of my own survival. Sometimes I think about her. Not with pain. With distance. She hunted security and sold loyalty to buy it. She mistook size for strength and money for safety. She forgot one thing. I was never the prey. I was the man who counted. And when the hunt ended, there was only one hunter left. And I walked away with everything that mattered. The message came while she was standing 5 feet away from me. Her phone vibrated on the marble kitchen counter. Once. Then again. She didn't look at it. I did. A name flashed on the screen, saved with a single letter. R. I felt something shift. Not break. Rearrange. She smiled at me then, the same practiced curve she'd worn for years. The smile that said safe. The smile that meant you're mine. She reached for the phone, turned it face down with 2 fingers, casual. Too casual. Coffee? She asked. Her voice was steady. Almost kind. I nodded. Took a sip I didn't taste. My pulse slowed instead of racing. That's how I knew something was wrong. Fear makes noise. This felt like silence snapping shut. She moved through the kitchen like she owned the air. Bigger jewelry than before. A new confidence in her shoulders. A weightless arrogance I hadn't earned her. I watched her back as she poured the coffee. And somewhere behind my eyes, a calculation began. Not anger. Not jealousy. Inventory. Years. Money. Promises. Lies. The message buzzed again. This time, she flinched. That was the moment. That was when I realized it wasn't divorce that had begun. It was the hunt. And I was the only one who hadn't been sold yet. I didn't confront her. Men who confront early die stupid deaths, emotional ones. Instead, I observed. She stopped asking about my day. Started dressing like she was being inspected. Gym memberships. Diets. A sudden fascination with mirrors. She laughed louder at her phone than she ever had with me. At night, she turned away in bed. Not out of guilt. Out of boredom. I told myself stories at first. Work stress. Midlife panic. A phase. I built excuses like sandcastles and watched the tide rise anyway. One evening, she mentioned his car by accident. Didn't say his name. Didn't have to. White interior, she said. Feels expensive. Then she looked at me. Measured me. As if I were a comparison chart she'd already decided against. That's when I understood the real betrayal. She wasn't just cheating. She was upgrading. I wasn't a husband anymore. I was a prototype she'd outgrown. Something smaller. Something she'd worn out. And she thought I didn't notice. That was her biggest mistake. I became invisible on purpose. I stopped asking questions. Stopped reacting. I smiled when she lied and took notes when she thought I wasn't looking. I checked phone records at work. Numbers don't lie. People do.